Ian again here. In this video, I want to talk about tests and convincers to enhance your success rate with hypnosis. Now, there are some hypnotherapists out there, some particular hypnosis schools out there that advise against using any type of tests or convincers. And these are typically the people who use progressive muscle relaxation type techniques and then scripts. In my opinion, that's wimpnotists. That's not really hypnotizing anybody. What you need to understand is that a hypnotic induction is really nothing more than a ritual. A ritual that the client expects and, for most part, the hypnotist thinks they need to go through to get into hypnosis. But the reality is, it's just a ritual, and the purpose of the ritual is to build belief and expectancy. You're probably not going to like this, but so much of hypnosis is down to the placebo effect of the belief and expectancy. And by using tests and convincers, you will massively enhance the belief and expectancy in the mind of your client, which means that everything then you say after that, the suggestions or the therapies that you do after that, are far more likely to be accepted and taken on board and create change than if you don't do that. Let me tell you why. Let's say, well, here's the thing. Most people who come in as hypnosis clients expect to feel hypnotized. Everyone, even if you do your pre-talk and you say you're not going to fall asleep, float around the room, become a zombie, you're going to be aware of everything, you'll hear the sounds in the room, the sound of my voice, you'll be aware of absolutely everything and you'll not fall asleep, they'll still be sitting there with their eyes closed thinking, I don't know whether I'm hypnotized or not. Now, you could then give them the world's best hypnotic suggestion. But if they're sitting there thinking, well, that's a really great suggestion, I'm sure that would work if I was hypnotized. But I'm not hypnotized because I can hear every word. I could open my eyes if I wanted to. Therefore, it's not going to work because I'm just not hypnotized. And if you've worked with clients for long enough, you'll probably have clients come in and they'll say, well, I've tried hypnosis before, but he couldn't hypnotize me, it didn't work. And what's happened there is almost certainly the person has not used tests or convincers because the person didn't believe they're hypnotized. Now, there is another bonus to using tests and convincers, is that you'll get referrals from using tests and convincers. Why would you get referrals? Because people like talking about what happens. And so if you get someone who comes in for, say, stop smoking, and then a couple of days later they go into their office or they go home and they say, oh what happened at the hypnotist? And they go, oh, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I had my arm rigid and stiff and I couldn't bend it. I really tried to bend it, but he made it so that I couldn't bend my arm. Then my eyes were shut and I tried to open, I just couldn't do that. And then he was pinching the back of my hand really hard. Look, there's a big nail mark there. I didn't feel a thing. You've got them to talk about it. People love talking about things like this. They particularly like talking about hypnosis because it's one of those subjects that everyone likes to talk about. Everyone's got an opinion on it. So if you get someone who you've hypnotized and you've done tests and convincers on, so that when they walk out, they know they've been hypnotized, then you have got a person out there who's going to give you referrals. So it's really, really crucial to do tests and convincers. So let's look at some of the ones that you can do, which I highly recommend that you do. Now, one of the classic ones, which many people do these days, is either they do it as a test up front, is the magnetic fingers. You can either do it as a test or you can do it as part of your induction. Either way, it doesn't matter. But the point is, when you get the client doing this and you're suggesting that their fingers are beginning to close together and they're closing, and sure enough they do, you have given them an experience. You have given them an experience of something which can be labelled as hypnosis. Now, Most of us know that that's actually not really to do with hypnosis, that it is a physiological response, because when you're in that situation, the tendons will close together. So it's not necessarily a hypnotic effect, but it creates what is believed to be a hypnotic effect. So it's a really, really good technique to use straight away. And it can, you know, for those of you who know, you can just go straight from that into an induction straight away, and you're halfway there. Now, it's also a good idea to utilise these tests and convinces. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, you've got someone in and they're coming in to stop smoking, and they're sitting in their chair, you've hypnotised them, now you stick their arm down to the chair. So your arm is really heavy, it's pushing down to the arm of the chair, it's stuck, glued down to the arm of the chair. Nod your head as you can feel that arm becoming really stuck, heavy, down, glued down to the arm of the chair like it's made of lead. As you feel that arm really stuck down to the arm of the chair, nod your head, yes. Great. They nod their head, yes. Right, I want you to try hard in vain to lift that arm up. And notice the harder you try, the heavier it becomes. Notice the harder you try, the heavier it becomes. And you watch them and they're like this. They're really trying to lift it up, but they can't. Okay, so now you've got the hypnotic phenomena, but don't stop there. We want to utilize that. So we then say, okay, so I notice you say, now stop trying and relax. And I said, I notice that you were really trying to lift that arm up there, weren't you? And they nod their head, or you can even have them open their eyes and talk to them. And so you were really trying to lift that arm up there, weren't you? And they go, yeah, I was. And yet that arm was stuck down there, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really weird. It was like it was just stuck down on the chair. And you said, well, it was almost as if there was some part of your mind holding you back there, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. Well, this may be kind of familiar to you, because in the past, you've really wanted to stop smoking, but it's almost felt as if there was some part of you holding you back. What would it be like if that part of you that was holding you back was now ready to go over to the other side, the side that truly wants and needs for you to stop smoking? I mean, that would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be great if every single part of your mind and body was now ready to work together as a team to ensure your total success at becoming and remaining a non-smoker? That would be great, wouldn't it? Like, oh yeah, that would be great. So you now utilize that. You've created this particular problem, and then you've utilized it. So utilize these tests and convinces. It's really, really important. So we've got magnetic fingers, and then we've got sticking arm to a chair, now the next big one which I like to use, and certainly if I'm doing any type of direct suggestion work, I will use this virtually every time. That's blood anesthesia, and particularly with smokers, really, really useful. So you create numbness, anesthesia in their hand. So that however you do it, that's fine, doesn't matter. Basically, you're just suggesting your arm is numb, totally numb, and then you pick their arm up and you say, I'm just going to rotate your arm up, and as I rotate it, you can feel me here, but nothing I do here will bother you or disturb you at all. So you rotate their arm round. As you're doing that, you pinch the back of their hand really hard. Now, I know there are going to be some people going, oh my God, you can't touch your clients. Yes, you can. Get over it. And I deliberately grow my thumbnail long so it does leave a really big nail mark. I do not play around with this. I pinch them really hard. And then I say to them, okay, in a moment I'm going to count to three. On the count of three, your eyes will open and you'll notice what I'm doing on the back of your hand. 1, 2, 3, eyes open. Notice what I'm doing on the back of your hand. And like, shouldn't that hurt? And they go, yeah, I didn't feel a thing. And I go, great, just close your eyes and go even deeper. Great. So now you utilize that. And you can say that same powerful part of your mind that can create anesthesia in that hand, that can take away all those feelings in that hand, is now going to create numbness, anesthesia for any feelings of withdrawal whatsoever. So that not only can you and will you become a non-smoker, but you're going to do so easily, naturally and comfortably with no withdrawal symptoms whatsoever. So notice how you've created numbness and you're linking that now to the therapy. And please use it for other things. I'm just giving the example of for smoking, but you can use it for so many other things. So you create numbness, anesthesia for whatever the issue was. Okay. Then, one of the other things you can do is what's called a finger spread. And I quite often do this in my inductions. So the client sitting in the chair before we've actually done the full hypnosis, I say, okay, I'd like you to bring your right hand up in front of your face, fingers pointed upward, lightly pressed together like that. Great. Okay, now just put your hand back on your lap. The reason I ask you to do that is in a few moments' time I'm going to have you bring your hand back up to that position, but I'm just giving you an idea of what I would expect you to do. Is that fine? Yes, great, okay. Eyes closed. Do whatever you do, then have them bring their hand up in front of their face, fingers pointed upward, lightly pressed together. I'm now going to have you open your eyes and pick a spot on that hand, one spot only, and as you focus on that one spot only, your fingers are going to begin to start spreading apart. Now you don't have to make it happen, but you don't have to try and stop it. Just watch and just begin to wonder which finger's going to move first. Will it be the little finger? Will it be the forefinger? Will it be the ring finger? It's almost as if there was a piece of string pulling those fingers apart, separating, spreading further and further, further and further. So again, you've got a big convincer there that they are responding to suggestion. So again, build these into your inductions. Don't just do some progressive muscle relaxation induction and assume that just because you've finished the piece of paper that they're in hypnosis. They're not. Hypnosis is about creating this phenomena. That's the bit that's hypnosis. It's nothing to do with trance. It's nothing to do with relaxation. It's everything to do with creating phenomena. Okay, so then you can use amnesia. And some people are freaking out, oh, you can't give them amnesia. Well, yes, you can. I don't suggest you give them amnesia for things that are traumatic, but you can utilise amnesia. You can utilise, like, for example, you can get them to forget their name or number block or something like that. Give them example of amnesia and then again utilise that and say that you realise now that you have the ability to forget things that are important and to forget things that are not important. What would it be like now if you were to begin to forget all those things that have held you back in the past? What would it be like if you were to forget to smoke a cigarette? That you would forget to get up and have that break and have a cigarette. You would just carry on with other things and it'll be okay. Utilise the amnesia. As I say, I'm not suggesting that if they come in and they've been raped or traumatised that you give them amnesia for that. Don't do that. That's not a good idea. But you can give them amnesia for all the excuses and things like that they've made in the past. Then time distortion. Now this is great, because this often happens automatically. Let's say you do a 30-minute session, something like that, even a 40-minute session. If you alert them from hypnosis, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, eyes open, fully alert, looking straight at me. Now, if you were to guess in a minute, how many minutes do you think you've been sitting there in that chair? Oh, I don't know, say about 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, great. So if I told you it was 5 or 10 minutes, you wouldn't be overly surprised. Oh, no, that's what I expected it to be. All right, okay. What if I told you it was 15 minutes? Could it have been 15 minutes? Well, yeah, possibly, I suppose. Okay, but it couldn't have been 20 minutes then, 4 times as long as you expected it to be. No, it wasn't 20 minutes. Okay, so if it was 20 minutes, that would surprise you, yeah? Oh yeah, I'd be really surprised if that was 20 minutes. Okay, so it couldn't have been 30 minutes. No, there's no way it was 30 minutes. It would take about 5, maybe 10 minutes max. So it couldn't have been 30 minutes. No, definitely not 30 minutes. So if it had been 30 minutes, you'd have to know that you've been hypnotised, right? Well, yeah, I suppose so, and there's no way that felt like 30 minutes. So if it was 30 minutes, you know you'd been hypnotised, yeah? Well, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, there's no way it could have been 30 minutes. Okay, so it couldn't have been 40 minutes. No, don't be ridiculous. There's no way that was 40 minutes. I've only been sitting here about 5-10 minutes. Okay, so if it had been 40 minutes, you'd know beyond a shadow of a doubt that not only have you been hypnotized, but all those suggestions are now deeply implanted in your mind. And you are now a non-smoker, whatever, and you'll remain a non-smoker for the rest of your life. Isn't that right? Well, yeah, it'd have to be, because there's no way that was 40 minutes. Take a look at the clock. Jesus, look at your watch. Oh my God. So you've really used time distortion as a convincer. Another one is just a direct suggestion. I might have someone in hypnosis, and then I say to them, and I notice that they're wearing a watch, and I say, okay, in a moment, I'm going to count to 3 and your eyes will open, and you'll have an overwhelming need to look at your watch. Now, you may look at your watch because you want to know what time it is. You may look at your watch because you want to see how long you've been sitting there. You may just be like the look of your watch. But in the moment, whenever I snap my fingers, or whenever I look at you, you have an overwhelming desire to look at your watch. And the harder you try to not look at your watch, the more you look at your watch. Okay? Great. 1, 2, 3, eyes open. Okay, so, you're doing really well there. How long do you think you were sitting there? And they go, I don't know. Oh, great. I noticed you looked at your watch there. You know what the time is, yeah? And you no need to look at your watch, do you? No. Why did you look at your watch then? I mean, you just knew what the time was, but, you checked it again. Why did you do that? Well, I don't know. And they do it again. You didn't even have to reinforce it. So you go, right, okay, so you know what the time is, yeah? Yeah. So you don't need to look at your watch to know what the time is? No. Okay. Again, you've created a real powerful post-hypnotic suggestion that gives them the belief and the expectancy that they've been hypnotized, that they are going to respond to the suggestions. Another great one is, I'll use the red pen for this one. This is one I learnt many, many years ago from a hypnotist called doesnt in the States. And it is fantastic. If you're doing any type of direct suggestion work, pretty much anything, end the session with this. This will give you referrals. This one thing, just this, will give you referrals. So they're in hypnosis, right at the end of the session, you're just about to alert them and you say, from this moment on, you're going to notice that the colour red is going to seem brighter, sharper, more vivid to you than ever before in your life. That's right, the colour red is. It's going to seem brighter, sharper, more vivid to you than ever before in your life. Now, whether that be a brake light, a stop light, the colour of a car, an article of clothing, it may be as small as a lady's nail polish or as large as a double-decker bus. Each and every time your mind encounters the colour red, consciously or unconsciously, your desire, your determination to remain a non-smoker, whatever, can and will keep going stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, you'll not need to look for the colour red because you are going to notice it automatically. It's going to be bright, sharp, clear to you. Each and every time your mind encounters the colour red, consciously or unconsciously, your desire, your determination to remain a non-smoker can and will keep going stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you alert them, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, eyes open, fully alert. And then you have them look around the room and they're all going to go, God, I didn't realise that book was there. That's a bright red. Then they're going to start noticing it. I give them a card with a business card, but it's got a calendar on the back and it's got this like referral thing, but it's bright red so that it triggers off. So it's a really, really powerful post-hypnotic suggestion that lets them know that they've been hypnotized, because they're going to notice the color red everywhere for the first 3 or 4 days at least. And again, it will get them talking. So these are just some of the things that you can use as tests and convincers to absolutely maximize your success as a hypnotist. I highly recommend that you do them. Don't use Wimpnotists. Become a proper hypnotist and test your clients. And you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You do it again and you further condition it in. Hypnosis is not about trance. It's not about relaxation. It's about creating phenomena. You need to understand that. If you create the phenomena, you are never, ever going to have a client at the end of the session say, you know what, I don't think I was hypnotized. It's never going to happen. They are going to know that they've been hypnotized beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if they know they've been hypnotized, the chances of their success are much, much higher than if they sat there going, well, I don't know whether or not I've been hypnotized. So for God's sakes, grow a pair and start testing your clients. You'll find it so much fun. It's entertaining for you, it's entertaining for them, gives them something to talk about, and it will maximize your success as a hypnotist. So there you go. Do practice it. If you have any questions, by all means, contact me on the website or my YouTube channel or on Facebook. Until the next time, I'll see you soon and have fun with it.